Good day everyone! So for today's video, we discussed about the theory and research-based principles of learning. But before we start, let's talk about our graphic organizer that we use. The graphic organizer that we use is the Main Idea Web, which you can see in your screen. Main Idea Web starts with the central ideas, which is the theory research-based principles of learning, and branches out into related ideas and details, which is the 7 theory research-based principles of learning. So this type of graphic organizer is used primarily for brainstorming and generating ideas for planning or writing purposes. Theory research-based principles of learning empower education in students, instructors by helping them to develop a deep understanding on how students learn, so that they can effectively apply and adapt teaching strategies to meet their own goals and their student needs. With this education, students, instructors will be able to understand and relate to the principles by translating it to local experience. The first theory research-based principles of learning is that students' prior knowledge can help or hinder learning. Student prior knowledge can help or hinder learning. So it means that if the pre-existing knowledge is correct and consistent with the new information, the effect of learning is positive. However, if prior knowledge is full of misconception or conflicts with new information, the effects of learning can be negative. Keep in mind that prior knowledge is not only concept, but it also in thinking skills, interpersonal and professional skills or attitudes and beliefs.
How students organize knowledge influences how they learn and apply what they know. Students naturally make connections between pieces and knowledge when those connections from knowledge structures that are currently and meaningfully organized. Students are better able to retrieve and apply their knowledge effectively and efficiently. Because students are better able to recall and apply their knowledge effectively and efficiently when those linkages create knowledge structures that are currently and meaningfully organized, because must learn necessary components, skills, practice integrating them, and be aware and improves the standards of pupils' learning.
What is the importance? Student motivation sets, directs, and sustain their step to learn. As students enter college and gain greater autonomy over what, when, how they study and learn. Motivations plays a critical role in guiding the direction, strength, stability, and quality of their learnings and behaviors. When students see positive value in a learning goal or activity, expect to succeed in achieving the desired learning goal and see support from their environment, they are likely to be highly motivated to learn.
Number 4. To develop mastery, students must acquire component skills, practice integrating them, and knowing when to apply what they have learned. Students must develop not only the component skills and knowledge necessary to perform the complete task, they must also practice combining and integrating them to develop greater fluency and automaticity. Finally, students must learn when and how to apply the skills and knowledge they learn. As instructor, it is important that we develop conscious awareness of these elements of mastery so as to help our students learn more effectively. Many of the skills we teach at the college level are complex and involve several sub-skills. Writing well, for instances, it requires knowledge of grammar, spelling, punctuation, and syntax, as well as an appropriate style. A good organization of ideas, and the ability to tailor the output according to the specific purposes, audiences, and genres. In order to master any skills, learners must master each sub-skills and learn to integrate them through a process that balances isolation and synthesis. Finally, learners must acquire the ability to decide which sub-skills is needed in a specific situation. For instances, the mastery of data analysis involves knowing each specific statistical tool and knowing which tools apply with certain types of data. While this description is straightforward, teaching skills can be complicated. Experts have automated their process and often lose the ability to verbalize them. This speeds up their performance but can hinder the ability to unpack the complex skills into component skills for the benefits of the learners if they are not vigilant against their expert blind spot.
Hi everyone, I'm Janmarini M. Fernandez. I report the topic of goal-directed practice coupled with targeted feedback enhances the quality of student learning. Learning and performance are best fostered when students engage in practice that focuses on a specific goal or criterion, targets an appropriate level of challenge and is of sufficient quantity and frequency to meet the performance criteria. Practice must be coupled with feedback that explicitly communicates about some aspects of student performance relative to specific target criteria, provides information to help students progress in meeting those criteria, and is given at a time and frequency that allows it to be useful. Whilst it's clear that both practice and feedback are two essential parts of an effective learning cycle, we need to explore how we can do this in the most productive way possible. Let's start with some simple definition. First, the goal. The outcome we want the student to achieve. Goals should be student-centered, specific, and measurable. You might hear them referred to as learning objectives or learning outcomes. And the practice. Any activity in which students engage their knowledge or skill, for example, creating an argument, solving a problem, or writing a paper. And the feedback. Feedback, the information we give students about their performance, which helps them adapt their future behavior. See how these three elements work together in a positive cycle to direct, repeat, and refine performance to guide the student towards achieving the goal.
Students' current level of development interact with the social, emotional, and intellectual climates of the course of to impact learning. Students are only intellectual but also social and emotional beings, and they are still developing the full range of intellectual, social, and emotional skills. While we cannot control the developmental process, we cannot shape the intellectual, social, emotional, and physical aspect of the classroom climate. Developmentally appropriate ways is the fact many studies have shown that the climate we create has implication for our students. A negative climate might impede learning and performance, but a positive climate can energize students' learning. May additional information, the higher, more intellectual, sa social naman, they cannot really interact with others. Sa emotional, students are good academics, socialism, and how to control their emotions, but they cannot develop. This skill depends on the environment. As everyone continues to train, their behavior will continue to improve, but it cannot avoid it that others. Students will behave badly even they are not good environment, because the issue not with the environment, but with the people comes in the contact with.
Good day everyone, my name is John Jafar from Group 3. To become self-directed learners, students must learn to monitor and adjust their approaches to learning. When the students develop the skills to engage these processes, they gain intellectual habits that not only to improve their performance but also their effectiveness as learners. Unfortunately, students tend not to engage in these processes naturally.
The primary objective of teaching is to impart knowledge and wisdom, and so the learners can be prepared for their future and reach their full potential as lifelong learners. To sum up the basic principles for an effective learning of the students, here are the things we might consider. A great way to effective learning is by organizing thoughts for articulating a better ideas. In order to assess what is essential and non-essential, students must be provided with organizational structures, and teachers explicitly make connections among concepts. Setting realistic performance goals can help students by encouraging them to make their own reasonable goals, because the more determined they are, the more chances that they will succeed in their learning. Applying the fourth principles, students must have the communication and computer literacy skills to be competent, and it should be integrated to their lives and their practice. As the more they practice, the more it will become in nature. For the fifth principles, teachers and students' communication is essential for providing a feedback. A specific target must be precisely informed to the students for improving its performance. Teachers can look for errors in student works, and so students supply the necessary tasks. And for the sixth principles, students can not only be intellectual, but holistically an integral person. Lastly, students must evaluate how she or he studies, and it requires a reflection for their work to learn further.
Thank you for listening of our discussion.